Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome all to the Monday, August 11th, 2008 informational meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council. Calling the meeting to order, and first up to bat is updates from our City Council Clerk, Deborah A. Owen.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Sioux Falls City Council. Just a couple of details for tonight to remind you all that there is an amendment that is requested for a title. That would be item number 8. Not a major issue, just need to get the proper title on that the ordinance, and the language is there in your notes to use as a resource. Also, just to remind you, there'll be an executive session today, so at the end of this, you'll need to adjourn into that. In addition, the Municipal League has emailed over to a number of cities a resolution, a template for a resolution, if you will, regarding initiated Measure 10, and Dee Knudsen had wanted to visit about that. I know she is not here today as something has come up, but I would like to visit with the council about that, and I think there has been an inquiry to maybe even have the Municipal League Executive Director to come in and talk about that, and perhaps even a voice to for both sides of the issue, but just leaving that for your perusal for a future action, and nothing is necessary today for that. Also, to remind all of you, Public Services will be meeting after the meeting or after this informational. We'll be discussing some of the possible proposed revisions for the campaign finance ordinance. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Deborah. Any questions of Ms. Owen? Seeing none, we're going to move forward. Is anybody here from Mayor Munson's office? Anybody want to come forward? No takers on that either. So, number 4 is the Audit Committee. Do we have a representative from the Audit Committee here? Pat?
No report.
No report. Very good. Fiscal Committee. Have a member of the Fiscal Committee for
no report currently.
Very good. Land Use Committee. That's me, and I don't have a report right now, but I think on the 18th is when we're meeting. We've got one coming up here pretty soon, so I'll be able to talk one of these days maybe. Public Services Committee, number 7. Chair Anderson.
We have a meeting after the executive meeting, so there is no report at this time.
Very good. Thank you, Kenny. City Council, open discussion. Vernon, Mr. Brown.
I asked Randy Bartunik to address the council this afternoon because he has an update on the Army-Navy Reserve building that we've talked about through the Homeless Advisory Board.
Good afternoon. Randy Bartunik, Director of Community Development. As Vernon said, I did receive an update from the Department of HUD last Thursday, and I'll just read the first 2 sentences to you. It says, "I have unfortunate news to share. The subject property is not currently available. Surplus excess screening of the property was conducted in error." So the building is not available. And apparently what I'm starting to understand is that when these properties, or before these properties are listed in the Federal Register, they're supposed to be screened, meaning that they look to other governmental entities, particularly like the Department of Defense, to see if there's other needs that the building could be utilized for, and apparently that was not done, or was not done appropriately. So, with that, apparently the Navy, as we knew, will remain in the building until next year at some point in time, or until their new facility is done. And hopefully by that time the screening will have been completed, and so there may be a possibility that the building may become available again next year, but at the current moment the facility is not available.
Questions of Randy. Mr. Staggers.
Yeah, Randy, so in regard to the $35,000 the city and the county are spending right now, what are we going to do? Are we going to try to...
Well, we are not spending it as of now. The agreement was signed by the contractor, but it has not been signed by the mayor yet.
Oh, okay.
So we will be holding off on that, I guess, pending maybe direction from the City Council or the Site Selection Committee that was put into place. But I would envision that we would not be moving ahead with it at this point in time.
Okay.
Other questions of Randy? Very good. Thank you, Randy, for that report. I guess we're kind of back to square one on that. I would anticipate that the Site Committee has some work to do now. So, staff report.
Oh, can I, Mr. Chair, are we still open discussion
Yes,
here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, just a couple quick things about tonight. I think probably everybody's aware of some of these amendments that I have. if I could just say something about 3 or 4 of those, just to clarify, to make sure people are aware of what's going on. The first amendment that I have tonight is going to be snow gates, and I think everybody knows snow gates. The $18,000 is for 3 snow gates. And then there's an amendment dealing with rail relocation plan, and very simply, what I have is an amendment to say absolutely no city funds will be used in this project. Now, right now, we're not anticipating any city funds, at least to the best of my knowledge. It's all federal funds. But this is just a statement from the council that we do not want to have city funds used for rail relocation. And then the Van Epps Park, this is a $10,000 one. Basically, it seems like all they want to do is to spend $10,000 to try to figure out what to do with Van Epps Park. And I think most of you are aware that it's on Minnesota. It's just a very, very small area. And they could probably just sit down and have coffee and talk about how to do it instead of spending $10,000. But that's what that's all about. And then another amendment deals with the convention center, $140,000. It's an OSEP. It's dealing with tables and chairs. And just about done here. The last one I just want to briefly mention is actually dealing with amending the 2008-2012 capital program. And this one is to delete the farmers market. In the next few weeks, they're supposed to bid on the farmers market. And right now, we're to spend $279,300 this year. And I think we should delete it because they've discovered they have to have another $100,000 for the GeoPiers too. And so that's what that's all about. But those are just a few amendments I wanted to clarify for everybody.
Thank you for that, Dr. Staggers. Anybody have questions for Kermit? None? I'm sure we will later tonight. So, Mr. Brown.
One more open discussion item. I was at a number of the McKinnon Park festivities this weekend, and specifically, it's always dangerous to thank a few people because I know that many staff, people and volunteers were involved, but Erica Beck from the planning department went above and beyond duty, as did Brad Dumpke from Channel 16 with the documentary he produced, and then Susie Gary from the Parks Department. It was a pretty flawless weekend and a good attendance at all events, so congratulations to all of them for a good event.
Yes, I too attended some festivities Saturday and Sunday as well, and I had a good time, and it was very interesting to go there. And the municipal band, I found out, had played some numbers from when the band shell opened up in 1926. They found an old copy of the Argus Leader and actually played some of the songs that they played then on that opening day. I found that very interesting. So, anybody else? Very good, very good. Staff report, we've already done that, correct, Deborah? Okay, well, I'm going to, is there anything else for the good of the order first? Councilor Costello.
I'm just recalling back from last year's budget hearings and on amendments then. Last year, we decided to have the clerk read the amendments versus having the person submitting it. And are we doing, I assume we're doing that way again this year? That's up for discussion, I guess. I liked the way it was done last year myself, but
Councilor Staggers.
Well, in the past, I've had conversations with the mayor, and the mayor said that he was going to allow each person that has amendments to read them. Now, this was some time ago when I talked to the mayor about this. So what I'm going to do is also mention it to him before the meeting, just to clarify that the understanding that we had is still the case.
is there an opinion from the rest of the council?
Well, I personally, I'm taking a little privilege here, is I like that because it was a nice neutral thing and did not give way to a lot of political philosophy.
The clerk's reading them?
Yeah, I like the clerk's reading it myself. I mean, that would have been my opinion on it.
I would offer the same opinion. We do that on every other council business that we conduct year-round. That is the clerk's responsibility, and I believe that's what we should continue to do.
Mr. Brown?
I also agree. As any legislative body, the clerks would read the amendments, and there wouldn't be discussion until there is a second.
Very good. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
Yeah, but also, if I could say something, we've
Absolutely.
also had, we had about 4 or 5 years of where each individual was allowed to read their amendments. So we do have a tradition of this, except for last year, when we broke that tradition.
Mr. Jameson?
Am I missing something? What's the big deal with reading your amendments versus the clerk? I wasn't here last year and I didn't watch it on TV, but maybe you guys could help me.
I think the concern is that in the past, there's been a tendency for individuals, when they read their amendments, to go beyond reading the amendment and starting to explain and justify it before there was a second to the amendment. This way, the clerk reads an amendment. If somebody wants to second it, they can, and if not, then it goes away. So it's more of a procedural issue in my mind. I don't know what the rest of the field.
Mr. Staggers?
And if I could also mention to Greg, in the past, there was a perception that a person reading the amendments was just taking too much time, when if you would actually take a look at how much time was devoted to this, it was very minimal.
Mr. Jameson?
I mean, we're talking about one sentences, aren't we?
Well, well, yeah, if the clerk reads it, that's the way it winds up, you know. And I guess it's kind of my opinion, if you get a second on it, then your opportunity for debate and opinion comes up.
See, if I can also just say one other thing. See, one of the problems is that for the audience that are out there or watching on TV, sometimes when you read the amendment, they don't know what you're talking about. And so that's one reason why I went ahead a few minutes ago and mentioned some of these amendments that I'm going to present tonight to make sure that everybody on the council is aware of it, you know, what's going on. But, you know, I remember one amendment that I had that last year, hey, it was read by the clerk and nobody knew what was going on.
Mr. Staggers, I guess I would have appreciated getting an email with a list of your, proposals on there. I got one from Mr. Costello, but I was looking forward for one.
Okay. Well, you might want to take a look at the agenda for tonight. It's been out since Friday.
Yes,
Amendments.
the agenda is one thing, but Councilor Costello did take time out to, email all of us with his amendments, and it wasn't just necessarily on the agenda. It was
He's got one amendment.
Well, it was a rather elaborate one, as I recall it.
Yes,
But, yeah.
and also, you know, these amendments that I proposed were out last Friday.
Very good.
Yeah, and
You have my-
last Friday, I was
Yep.
looking at them.
You have my apologies for being inattentive there,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Staggers.
Got it?
Mr. Jameson?
I don't want to beat this thing to death, but Kermit, could you give an example of reading your First Amendment on the snow gates?
Oh, you want me to read it right now?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't have the complete amendment here. I'm just taking it right off of this.
Okay. I'm just looking for
Yeah.
an example. I don't, I'm just,
It's about, yeah. Well, what I'll do, Greg, is before the meeting tonight, I'll just show you, it's about 2 or 3 lines. What it does, it references a page number, it references the CIP number. What we have here on the agenda right now doesn't have those numbers, but that's basically the additional information that would be provided in the amendment. Oh, there you go, you've got it. That's it right there.
you have additional information other than what I have that you would share with us, then
No, that's what I would
this is
read.
it?
That's what I
It's
would
only,
read.
yeah, 3 sentences.
Yes, that's all I would read tonight. Mhm.
Very good. Anything else? Why don't Mr. Staggers, if you want to approach the mayor and then get in touch with Ms. Owens so we have a direction before the meeting and if
Yeah, that's what I indicated I was going to do.
Very good.
Was to clarify with the mayor that, the arrangement would be that people would be allowed to read their amendments tonight.
Well, you know, from our straw poll, I guess we're sitting here about even, so why don't we let the mayor break the tie on this one?
Well, the mayor is probably, since he presides over the meeting, he'll probably, just make the decision unless there's an objection from the council and then a vote.
Right, but he may be interested in knowing which way the council felt about it, and I sense that we're evenly divided on this.
I think it's pretty lopsided.
You think it's pretty lopsided? I didn't hear from you, Councilor Costello, so I
No,
guess.
I like the way we did it last year.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, that's right, okay. Well, let's see if you can convince the mayor otherwise.
Yeah, so if the mayor tonight says that he's going to allow each council member to read their own amendments, then if any of you have any objections and then want to have a vote, you can go ahead and do that.
Very good. Well, I guess it's my opinion that he has the hammer, so he runs the meeting. So. Very good. Anything else? All right, then I'm going to entertain a motion to enter into executive session for contract negotiations. Looking for a second.
Second, Benninga.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Very good. I'd like to have the room cleared at this time, except for the pertinent parties to this matter.